Welcome to Learning Outcome 2, where we turn to the world outside the business, the UK's business environment. We'll look at the external forces that firms can't control and the stakeholders who shape the decisions they make. Every business, however well run, operates inside an external environment it can't fully control. Those outside forces throw up both opportunities and threats. So a new technology might open up a market, while a rise in interest rates might close one down. Smart managers scan that environment constantly so they can plan ahead, something we call environmental analysis. The go-to tools for this are PEST and its bigger cousins, PESTL and STEEPLE. PEST breaks the outside world into 4 headings: political covers, government policy, tax and regulation. Economic takes in growth, interest rates, inflation, and unemployment. Social is about people, so demographics, tastes, and lifestyle. And technological covers automation, e-commerce, and, increasingly, artificial intelligence. So when Netflix worries about changing viewing habits and streaming technology, it's really scanning the social and technological parts of its PEST. Sometimes 4 headings aren't enough, so the framework stretches. PESTL adds legal and environmental factors, think employment law, and net zero targets. STEEPLE goes one further and folds ethics into the mix as well. The point isn't to collect as many letters as possible, it's to pick the version that fits your business and scan the outside world in a structured way. For this part of the unit, we zoom in on 2 external factors that are really reshaping UK businesses right now. The first is economic, covering interest rates, inflation, and the cost of living. The second is technological, covering e-commerce, automation, and artificial intelligence. Both are changing how firms operate, how they price, and how they compete, so they're well worth examining in depth. Economic factors cut both ways. On the opportunity side, falling interest rates make borrowing cheaper and encourage investment, while low inflation and rising real incomes give people more confidence to spend. On the threat side, high interest rates push up loan and mortgage costs and squeeze demand. High inflation eats into margins, and a recession hits sales, especially for the things people can do without. A furniture retailer, for instance, feels every one of these shifts keenly. Here's that in action. When inflation shot up recently, UK households started reining in their spending. Supermarkets watch shoppers trade down to value ranges, which change the whole product mix on the shelves. Hospitality and non-essential retail saw footfall and sales fall away. Firms fought back by controlling costs, renegotiating with suppliers, and pushing their budget lines. It's a neat illustration of how a single economic factor can reshape strategy, pricing, and performance all at once. Technology is just as double-edged. It opens doors because e-commerce lets even a tiny firm sell nationally or globally. Automation drives down costs, and data and AI sharpen marketing and decisions. But it comes with risks too. The sheer cost of adopting and updating systems, cybersecurity threats, and data protection duties under GDPR, and the disruption of jobs as tasks get automated. A small retailer launching an online shop enjoys the reach, but has to manage the security and the setup costs that come with it. The key thing to grasp is that impact isn't fixed. It depends on the business, its size, and how it responds. The very same factor can be an opportunity for one firm and a threat for another. The boom in online delivery was a gift to supermarkets, but a blow to some high-street shops. Well-run firms treat external change as a chance to adapt and get ahead. The judgment to hold on to is that external factors matter, but it's often the management response that decides the outcome. Stakeholders split neatly into two groups. Internally, you've got the owners or shareholders wanting a return, employees wanting fair pay and security, and managers chasing growth and success. Externally, there are customers after quality and value, suppliers wanting reliable orders and prompt payment, the government looking for tax and jobs, and the local community hoping for employment without too much disruption. Each group is pulling the business in a slightly different direction. It's one thing to list stakeholders, another to see the power they hold. Shareholders can vote at the AGM and even replace the directors. Employees exert their influence through productivity or, at the sharp end, through strikes. Customers vote with their wallets and their online reviews. Government shapes the rules through laws and taxation, and the local community can lodge planning objections or generate unwelcome publicity. Every one of them has a lever to pull. Because stakeholders want different things, conflict is almost inevitable. Shareholders might push for higher profits, which could mean holding down the wages that employees care about. A community might resist a new depot that owners see as vital growth. Managers are left to balance these competing interests and decide whose voice carries most weight, usually the most powerful group or the one most directly affected. Let's make that concrete with a supermarket planning a big distribution depot on the edge of a town. Shareholders and managers are all for it, thanks to lower costs and faster deliveries. Employees welcome the new jobs it brings, but nearby residents object to the extra traffic and noise, and the council has to weigh the promised tax and jobs against those planning and environmental worries. The final decision, as so often, comes down to negotiation and compromise between everyone involved. Coming back to the PEST headings, social factors are the shifts in society, demographics, and attitudes. An aging population, for example, drives up demand for healthcare and leisure services. Growing interest in health and sustainability is nudging shoppers towards plant-based and ethically sourced products. Firms that keep an eye on these trends can get ahead, and you can see it in how quickly supermarkets expanded their vegan ranges to match changing tastes. These are the extra factors that Pestle and Steeple bring in. Political factors, such as government policy, trade rules, and taxation, affect both costs and confidence. Legal factors set the rules firms must follow, from employment law and consumer protection to data protection under GDPR. And environmental factors, like climate policy and net zero targets, increasingly shape how goods are made and packaged. For a modern UK business, none of these can be ignored. This snapshot applies the whole Pestle framework to a single UK supermarket, and it's a great way to see the tool in action. Politically, trade rules affect the imported food on its shelves. Economically, the cost of living squeeze changes what shoppers buy. Socially, there's growing demand for healthier, local produce. Technologically, self-checkouts and online delivery are reshaping the store. Legally, there's food labeling and employment law to follow. And environmentally, there's real pressure to cut plastic packaging and waste. To manage all these competing groups, businesses often use the Mendeley matrix, which maps stakeholders by their power and their interest. Those with high power and high interest, major shareholders for instance, you manage closely. High power but low interest, like regulators, you keep satisfied. Low power but high interest, such as the local community, you keep informed. And those with little of either you simply monitor. It's a quick way to decide where to focus your energy. The businesses that do this well communicate openly and try to meet reasonable expectations. Balancing those interests builds trust, reputation, and long-term success, whereas ignoring a powerful stakeholder can trigger strikes, boycotts, or lost investment. The judgment to take away is that strong stakeholder management isn't just a box-ticking duty. Because done well, it becomes a genuine source of competitive advantage. Let's draw the threads together. Businesses sit within an external environment we analyze using PEST, PESTLE, and STEEPLE. Economic factors like interest rates and inflation, and technological factors like e-commerce and AI are having a powerful effect on UK firms. Remember that the same factor can be an opportunity or a threat depending on the business and its response. And stakeholders, both internal and external, influence decisions in all sorts of ways. So because their aims often clash, managers are forever balancing them. So that's the UK business environment and the stakeholders within it, the outside forces firms must scan, and the groups whose interests they have to juggle. To take these ideas further, the reading list on this slide is a great place to go next. I'd suggest Worthington and Britton's book for the wider business environment, the Harvard Business Review article on strategy, and the ONS and gov.uk websites for real data on UK firms. Do dip into the journals on stakeholder theory and the BBC bite-sized case studies too, as they'll help these frameworks click into place.